In the not-too-distant future, Representative Chris Collins will likely have his day in court to answer the insider trading charges that were leveled against him on Wednesday, but the Republican lawmaker may well be judged sooner by voters in November. Mr. Collins, who was the first congressman to endorse Donald J. Trump in 2016, is running for his fourth term in a Buffalo area seat that is one of the most conservative in New York. Mr. Trump carried the district with nearly 60% of the vote, his best showing in the state, and Democrats had harbored little hope of unseating Mr. Collins amid the broader full House battleground.But the indictment of Mr. Collins is expected to change that.A spokeswoman for the campaign arm of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, Meredith Kelly, now declared the seat to be firmly in play. The Cook Political Report, a nonpartisan political handicapper, moved the seat from a solid to likely Republican in the hours after the indictment was unsealed. And Jeremy Zellner, a local Democratic leader and chairman of the Erie County Democratic Committee, said, "We've been contacted by people all over the country who want to help." The timing of the indictment, less than 3 months before the election, would seem to pose a disadvantage to Mr. Collins. Geoffrey S. Berman, the United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, said his office was cognizant of the timing, but given that it is months away from the election, those concerns do not apply. The question is whether the Democrats can capitalize on Mr. Collins' legal problems. The Democratic nominee is Nate McMurray, a town supervisor of Grand Island, who has about $80,000 in campaign funds, a tiny sum to try to take out an incumbent. Mr. Collins had $1.3 million in his campaign account as of the most recent federal filing. But he will likely be tempted to use some of that money to fund his coming legal battles. Records show that Mr. Collins already paid Baker Hostetler, the law firm defending him, $250,000 since mid-2017 from his campaign treasury.Up till now. Mr. Collins has not even agreed to debate Mr. McMurray, even as an online petition calling for a debate has collected 1,300 signatures. Mr. McMurray said on Wednesday that the indictment was shocking and sad, but not surprising. It is clear the swamp is alive and well in Washington, he said. National Democrats hope to use the indictment as evidence that the Republican Party fostered a culture of corruption, as the House Minority Leader, Nancy Pelosi, said on Wednesday, the same message she first wrote into the majority in 2006. Yet there is some precedent for a New York Republican congressman winning re-election under indictment. Michael Grimm did it just 6 years ago in a swing Staten Island district, though he resigned soon after, pleaded guilty and served months in prison for tax evasion. It's very possible for Collins, even under indictment, to win this seat and re-election, said George Arst, a longtime New York Democratic strategist, citing the district's heavily conservative bent. The indictment says Mr. Collins told his son and others to sell stocks in a pharmaceutical company, Innate Immunotherapeutics, where he sat on the board before its failed drug tests became public.